living well. It's only strengthened my resolve to live life as well as I can. And as I said, I hate to lose. But when you lose, and you know that you inevitably will, you can free yourself from the fear and find the strength in what's most important. But how? What's most important? Seriously? Do I need to tell you? Maybe so, but you should have figured it out from Terrence. First, love one another. We're all human beings. We're all facing defeat, and facing defeat alone is no fun. We need each other. Treat each other with more than respect. We need to love and be loved. Listen to people. And for me, that's not easy, but I do not like not hearing what people are saying to me. So seriously listen to them. Don't judge them. Listen and work to understand what they're saying. Accept that people will do the right thing. Be patient. Work with people. Talk to them. And accept them for their faults. Recognize your own faults and work on changing them. I spent an entire life trying to be a better person, and I'm not done. I got a lot of work to do. That's the whole point. It's exciting. I have a long list of my faults. The PowerPoint has 236 slides. Copies will be available in the lobby after the presentation. And read. Whoa, where'd that go? Not sure why that happened, but basically the point there is to read. Why should you read? Well, you can listen to your friends and you can listen to your family, but your friends are going to start repeating themselves, and your family started repeating itself a long time ago. Right? Siblings, parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, and so forth. They're all going to tell you things, but you pretty much know where you stand once you talk to them. I read because it gives me more perspective. I read a lot. I love to read. I didn't like to read as a kid. Growing up, I wasn't a big reader. It wasn't until I was in junior high that I figured out how wonderful reading is. And what it does is it offers you thousands of perspectives on all the things that you're going through across time. And there's a lot of people who have come before you, done amazing things in the face of incredible adversity. And they've triumphed. You see? Not because they were about winning, but because they weren't afraid of losing. Keep that in mind. There's a high price to losing. What is it? As much as you're willing to pay. The good news is the price doesn't cost you money. The really important things never do, like character and excellence. They can't be bought. They're yours alone. But they're affected by what happens to you and how you respond to them. So don't be afraid. Pay the price. That's all I got. This is 28 slides. I've never gone through 28 slides in my entire life that quick. How long was it? Are there questions?
What's your biggest regret?
What?
What's your biggest regret?
What's my biggest regret? I didn't get to play NFL football. Most people dream, when they're kids, most people dream about things like, I want to be an NFL football player, I want to be a professional baseball player, I want to be a fireman, I wanted to be the king of my own planet. As a child, I fantasized, I daydreamed all the time. My report cards as a kid were filled with stairs out the window all the time. I didn't get run with scissors, which is the one I really wanted, because it's actually an old category that you checked on old report cards. When I was a kid, runs with scissors. I don't know. There's a lot of people in my generation who have that t-shirt. I was always looking out the window, I was always daydreaming, was never really focused. And I never had a real firm grasp on reality as a kid. It just wasn't like, you know, you need to be thinking about this, and I'm going, I wish I was John Carter. I cannot believe they made it, the movie. John Carter, Edgar Rice Burroughs' Martian Chronicles was one of the first books that I discovered in junior high, and I just flew through that series. I was like, I could read. But here's a guy, you know, who goes to sleep in a cave, and, you know, he's actually a Confederate soldier who flees, you know, from the war, and he goes to sleep in a cave, and he wakes up on Mars. How does that happen? It's a magical cave, and then he becomes the superhero of Mars, right? And I'm like, I want my own planet. I want my own kingdom. So I spent hours, and keep in mind, this is before Dungeons and Dragons, designing kingdoms and drawing maps and putting rivers and mountains, and right? People were like, let's go play baseball. I sucked at sports until I got into high school. Something happened in my body. I was just awful at sports. I couldn't catch a ball. It took me 3 years to swing the bat. Stand up the first 2 years, 2.5 years of baseball. My coach was so ecstatic when I actually swung. And it's different then because we didn't play other towns. They put 4 years. So my first year of baseball, there were guys 3 years older than me on the same team. So you got to imagine you're standing at the plate. There's a kid when you're 6 who's 10 throwing the ball. It's horrifying. It's like, how can you be a winner when you're 3 years younger than this kid? It was like, oh my God, this is horrifying. I ate a lot of dandelions in right field. Grew up. That was really horrifying. Right in the middle of the game, I'm like, brilliant. So I didn't really think about, you know, becoming something. I always thought about another world. And so all of my games and all of the things that I played and so forth, and history is another world. It's fantasy. I mean, we work very hard to figure out what happened. We use evidence to so forth, but your imagination, you know, it actually controls my imagination because I'm like, nah, it couldn't have been Martians. So, but you know, I've been so garage sale disorganized that I really haven't figured out, you know, what I want to do. I just did this because I never wanted to leave school. I just love school. Always did. And that's why I became a professor, so they wouldn't kick me out. Other questions?
What's one thing you recommend everybody to read? Like a thing that's one.
What a tough question. There's no one thing I can recommend that everybody should read. You need to pick something that you're interested in, right? And then read it. But I'm going to tell you, and if you watch this, maybe there are a lot of really boring books out there. Really boring, right? But the whole point of reading really boring books is the same thing with dealing with the fear of loss. They change you when you read them. They absolutely change you when you read them. And they've changed me my whole life, which is why I'm so addicted, you know, to learning. It's just so powerful to be able to draw on so many different perspectives from so many different people over so much time. It's incredible. So you want a list? You want the Oprah list? I don't know. It's hard. I don't want to inflict that on anybody. Pick something that you know you should read and read it. Machiavelli's Prince, Wealth of Nations. Yes. Right? Pick anything. Right? And read it. And really read it. Think about it as you read. Don't just push your way through it. Think about it. Absorb it. Ask questions. And have fun.
What do you hope for or look forward to in the next 5 to 10 years?
Wow. Being here and torturing students. I don't plan on going anywhere fast. I want to get my dissertation done, but I have plenty of people to beat with foam swords, which is too much fun. We took a history majors got papers accepted to the Heart of America, the Missouri Valley History Conference this year. We went up there and kicked ass. Andrew Woodworth got best graduate student paper. He's an undergraduate. And to do that is really terrifying because you have to stand there in front and read something that came out of you, right, and that you put on paper to a bunch of strangers, most of which are incredibly nerdy and half of which are really hostile. Because there's a lot of angry history people out there. And to have that happen and watch these people do that, and then, to have, it's longer, I don't want to go into it, but it was just an amazing experience. And it's got me excited again about doing research because, I'm a vampire and I suck energy from students. But there's this, I went to Baker, and one of the main reason why I left Baker is because I couldn't do at Baker what I wanted to do, which was to study dead cultures and to study dead languages. And I went to KU to do that, but we didn't have it. But I figured out that I wanted to do that because of the classes that I had here. Don Hatcher, it was his first year. You want to talk about a scary professor? Try him when he's like just out of his PhD. It was great. It was just ruthless. This, Karen Horvath, probably the scariest woman that ever lived. I don't know if you know her. She was a political science professor. Wore this big black cape, had bright scarlet red hair. In the fall, she'd be going across the campus. My first paper back from her, I got a B- over an F. I got an F because I broke 3 of the 10 rules of Karen Horvath. The 10 grammatical commandments. I misused then and than. So I had to go to the essay, the equivalent of the SAS, and I had to do a 300-question multiple choice quiz asking the difference between get a circle then or than 300 times. And you had to get a 90% on the quiz, or you had to take it over. Believe me, I haven't ever mistaken those 2 again. I did 3 of those. She wouldn't take the F off. I did 2, 2, and 2, then and then, and one other one. I can't remember what it was. And so I had to go in there and do all that. Then I got the B-. I still, have the books for Intro to Political Science, PS 50. It's amazing. So, it was, don't be afraid of the people being hurt. They're doing it because they want you to be better. I'm too nice. That's always been my problem. But my philosophy is always like, I'll get you to come on in. So I don't have any plans other than, doing what I'm doing. I'd like to take another group back to England. I don't have the energy to do it this summer. I just can't do it. And they're like, aren't you bringing people back? But not yet. I'd like to go to Egypt. I'd like to take a group to Egypt. I'd like to take a group to Rome. I'd like to take a group to Rome and Germany, which would just be awesome. Right? To see the Roman ruins, to see the great battlefield, the Black Forest, the Trafalgar Law battle in 980, those kinds of things. Is that happening?
When are you going to teach Latin?
We need a Latinist if there's enough. See, the problem was, 2003, there was this huge group of students who wanted Latin. They absolutely demanded Latin. And there were 24 signatures on the petition. So they said, you're going to teach Latin. I'm like, fine. All right. 4 people signed up. Latin is not